Howdy Tamers, and welcome to my reading of Digimon Liberator Debug, Chapter 24, Part 1. Similar to the previous readings, I'm not a professional voice actor, so if the voices change episode to episode or line to line, I'm just doing the best that I can. I recommend still heading over to the official release on DigimonCard.com if this is your primary way of consuming the Liberator web novel. Partially so Bandai still gets the site visits, but also because most chapters of Digimon Liberator have art. Liberator also occasionally has actual visuals of any card that's mentioned. While the mechanics of said cards are included in the reading, if you want to see the card itself, head over to the official novel release on DigimonCard.com. And with that out of the way, let's continue on to Digimon Liberator Debug, Chapter 24, Part 1. Debug, Chapter 24, Part 1. A town in the corner of Cross Connectia, aside from a select few, machine Digimon make up the inhabitants here. This made Impmon, Funbeamon, and the others stand out all the more. But today, in Rebellionmon's home, where Yuuki and the others set up base, was a surprising array of colourful Digimon. And that's why we need your help. As Suzune finished outlining the situation and dropped her head, a painful silence filled the room. Talk with Mistymon? After what felt like an eternity, a deep voice boomed. The Silver Lion, Panjamon, spoke with a stern look on its face. Suzune nodded back with an equally serious expression. I'm sure it's not an agreeable prospect for you. Your village has suffered a lot because of Mistymon's orders to give offerings, and the two of you seem to be at odds with each other. Humph! After crossing its arms, it thought for a while. Panjamon shook its head as if to cast away the hesitations in its mind. No, it's fine. I might not get along with Mistymon, but that doesn't change the fact that we were once allies in battle. If Mistymon has taken the wrong path, then we need to offer guidance. It then sighed as if to reflect on the good old days. In fact, I've been curious about why Mistymon has been acting so hastily. So you're saying that? Yeah, I'll help you. Thank you. Suzune bowed deeply. Standing next to her was the dragonkin Dandenong. It raised its voice in genuine wonder. What if it all boils down to is dealing with Mistymon and the others somehow, right? Why can't we just fight them? Sorry, I know that's the fastest solution. Ryutaro shook his head at the dragonkin's words. It's just a selfish request on our part. In the same way, we could only communicate with our fists. There are some things that can only be conveyed to them through words. He thumped his fist into his palm and stared at his clenched hand before slowly opening it up. I want Mistymon to know just how much we love you guys. I see, Dandenong beamed. Then I'll help out too, because it felt great when we finally understood each other. Ha, thanks bro, I'm counting on you. Ryutaro and Dandenong slammed their fists together. Standing next to them was Floramon, a vegetation Digimon that was noticeably smaller than the others here. It scratched its cheek anxiously. I mean, yeah, I'll help, but do you really need me? I'm weaker than everyone else, and it's not like I'm particularly outstanding. That's not true, Floramon. Winner shook his head vehemently in response to Floramon. My battle ailed with you is what I'm most proud of on this journey of mine. I want Mistymon to know how I feel. Floramon lifted its head at his words. I want you to help me protect what's important to us. You'll make me blush with all that. After bashfully stroking the petals on its head, Floramon gave an emphatic nod. I already know that I can count on our tactician strategy. If you say that you need me, then I just gotta give it all that I've got. Floramon then admitted in a near whisper that it was nervous. The beaming Winner, who was expressing thanks, didn't hear, and Funbeamon gently stroked Floramon's head. Then that's that. Suzune breathed a sigh of relief. Please fight alongside us, and fight in our way so that nobody gets hurt. Compared to the beginning of the journey, there were now a few more voices that spoke in response. Digimon Liberator Side Story, Debug, Chapter 24, Part 1, Miracle, Part 1. Seems like everyone's on the same page? Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. Suzune and the others spoke outside the house. Upon sensing the warmth in the snippets of the conversation she picked up, Yuuki breathed a sigh of relief, while Impmon looked over with judging eyes. Impmon! What's so wrong with me joining them? You didn't have to drag me out. As Winner and the others talked, Impmon waited outside with Yuuki. During the conversation, Impmon restrained Yuuki from talking to the unfamiliar Digimon that she so desperately wanted to approach. Because they wouldn't be able to have a serious conversation with you around, Yuuki. That's not true. I can be serious. Says the one who at first glance mimicked Rutaro's fist bump greeting with Dandenong. It wouldn't be out of the question for something to happen to an avatar after doing that, you know. Rutaro's just an anomaly. Ack! She pouted in response to Impmon's scolding. When she slammed her fist into Dandenong's, Winner was mortified. All the colour drained from Rutaro's face, and Suzune let out a rare scream. It was that kind of behaviour that made her a likely impediment to any serious discussion. Look, they might have been okay with not having a solemn mood to their conversation, but Suzune said we had to ask them in a serious manner, and you agreed to that. Yeah, I did. Winner and the others' plan was simple. Seek the help of the Digimon that they had befriended in Cross Connectia in order to get Mistymon's guardians to agree to talk to them. Mistymon's group was fighting to protect Cross Connectia and the Digimon in it, and they developed a hatred for humans because they believed that they were threatening their cause. Their plan to clear up the misunderstanding through the mediation of the Cross Connectia Digimon they had become acquainted with and developed a mutual understanding with. However, this plan clearly involved a high risk for those Digimon, who were already living on the edge. That was why it was crucial to hold the conversation in a serious manner that avoided any form of coercion. It ended up coming down to how much they trusted us, but it worked out. Yeah, you all made some amazing friends. That includes you, teacher. Yuuki muttered profoundly. Winner was on the introverted side, and even amongst the debugging team, he only interacted with some of them. As his close friend, Yuuki must have been happy to know that he got along well with the Digimon that he met on his travels. Getting all teary over that was a bit much, though. Why are you on the verge of crying, Yuuki? Because I've been watching just how hard teacher is trying. This is totally a whirlwind. No, a hurricane of emotions. What the heck does that even mean? Hey, we can't interrupt the others talking inside. Impmon was at wit's end over Yuuki getting all teary and emotional and didn't want Winner and the others' words to be made light of. But just then, Turbomon and Maneuvermon clattered on by, passing in front of the house. Oh, Turbomon and Maneuvermon! Thanks a ton! Seriously! Yuki's weepy face of tears lit up in an instant as she embraced the two Digimon. There was one problem with Winner and the others' proposal. It would take a whole day in the world they were in to travel from the town to where Panjamon and the others were. No matter how slowly time passed, heading back to seek the help of the Digimon would mean that the time given for their mission would run out. It was Turbomon and Maneuvermon who made the impossible possible. After resting in town, the two Digimon had recovered from the exhaustion caused by the rogue NPC chasing them. Then, they incredibly managed to take the D-storage with the group's message on it to different villages and hamlets, and bring back representative Digimon from each of them. Dandenong took a liking to Turbomon's speed and developed a friendship with it, while Panjamon had no qualms about holding on to Maneuvermon's legs for the entirety of a long journey. Being transported in Maneuvermon's mouth, Floramon gazed off into the distance as it quipped about how surprisingly comfortable it was. It said nothing else beyond that. You're a pair of lifesavers. Everyone that has helped us out so much since we started the whole journey. As Impmon thought to itself, Yuuki began to tear up again. Turbomon and Maneuvermon looked nonplussed over being embraced so tightly. It was used to its partner's emotions changing like the seasons, but she was a bit too unstable. Impmon leaped up to reach Yuki's height and gave her cheek a mighty pull. Hey, oh hi! What are you doing, Impmon? Calm down, Yuki. 1 minute you're laughing and the next you're crying. There's something wrong with you. No, there isn't. Yeah, there is. What's up? Wait, could it be? An ominous image appeared in Impmon's head. It was a completely plausible malfunction in this kind of situation, but Impmon figured it was totally out of question for Yuuki. Are you nervous? Nah, after all, as if... I'm totally so nervous. Seriously? As Impmon muttered in bewilderment, Yuuki leaped over to it and kneaded its cheeks. Hey, stop that! You gotta understand, coming up with a strategy to become friends with them is great and all, but who knows if it'll actually go well. It's a bit late to be worried about that now. Well, I am. I'm always super serious when it comes to making friends. Really now? Impmon tried to escape Yuki's clutches, but she pinched its cheeks again in return. Hey Yuki, what is it? Remember when I asked you about your dreams? Yuki, perhaps caught up by Impmon's serious tone of voice, didn't say a word. I remember, when I asked you that question, Wasn't your dream to make friends with every single Digimon? Impmon had initiated this conversation shortly after meeting Yuki. Impmon wasn't usually one to talk about subjects like that, and this caught Yuki off guard, while also making her beam with joy as she pointed her finger sky high. You know it! I want to meet all of the Digimon living in this world, talk to them, and become friends with them. There are Digimon outside of Lacuna too. Weren't you listening to what Coolboy was saying? Then I'll make friends with them as well. That's obviously impossible. As Impmon lazily cut her down, Yuki raised her voice in objection. You don't know that. No, but I do. That day, Impmon was ready to completely discount its partner's utterly reckless dream. That's why it even gave up sleep, thinking of counter-arguments. If you're saying that you want to make friends with every single Digimon, and you can fulfill that, then why wouldn't you have become friends with every single human by now? Hearing this made Yuki back off sheepishly. Impmon thought it would have to be explained in more detail, but it seemed like that particular question hit a sore spot for Yuki. I'm friends with pretty much everyone I've met, I think. You think? Befriending every human is as impossible as befriending every Digimon. So wouldn't you fare better focusing on making friends with the humans in the same world as you? Ack! You know this, yet you insist on befriending all Digimon, even though you know it's impossible. You're just talking big, no? Or maybe you're just making light of us because you think we're characters in a game. No way, never! Then convince me otherwise. Impmon wondered why it said such cruel things. It wanted to tear apart its partner and her fantastical dream. Probably because it didn't want to be dragged along to fulfill that dream. Perhaps it thought the dream was too dazzling for itself. And with that, Yuki began to cry over Impmon's inconsiderate arguments. This made the situation all the trickier. Even though it went out of its way to say cruel things, Impmon didn't know what to do when faced with her crying. Don't cry. There's no point to your tears. What do you expect me to do? I genuinely want to make friends. That's why I said you could make friends with humans. But Digimon are awesome. They look and live totally different from us. Yet they're the same in how they eat, think, eat, and poop. What are you going on about? Finding out that such amazing, almost miraculous creatures actually exist would make anyone want to become friends with them. Impmon's memory became hazy from here, but it likely did all it could to pull out the apology caught in its throat. Yuki was blurting out complete nonsense. None of it even answered Impmon's question, but Impmon still couldn't find the words to respond, because it looked Yuki square in the eye as she gussed over how Digimon were miracles. It was clear to the twisted little devil that its partner's eyes showed not a single hint of a lie. Remember the time you said that Digimon are miracles? Yeah. Reflecting of memories on the past appeared to calm Yuki down. She lowered her restless hands and listened to Impmon. So, don't you think Digimon see humans in the same way? Oh! Yuki's eyes widened. It was then that they heard the sound of an engine from far away. They turned around and saw Rebellymon, the Digimon who had taken care of Yuki in this town. Rebellymon! Sorry for interrupting a conversation. Heading off already, Yuuki?
Yeah, you've helped me out a lot, but there's something I gotta do.
I getcha. Rebellionmon nodded profoundly in response to Yuki's sincere words. I know you need Digimon to help you talk to Mistymon. I was actually thinking of going along with you, but... Rebellionmon said as it pointed its thumb behind it. Standing there were the Digimon that Yuuki and the others befriended after the festival that was held in the town. The local Impmon, Hagurumon, and Kapurimon. These guys said they wanted to help you.
Hold up, Rebellionmon, help isn't the right word.
The Impmon barked at Rebellionmon before turning to Yuuki.
You're leaving town with all your friends, right? I was just curious about what type of humans and Digimon are among them. Impmon was the one who said it first, that it wanted to help you guys. Come on, Kapurimon. If you ask me, I think Impmon is sad that you're going somewhere with other friends after it became your friend. You're chiming in too, Hagurumon? Would it kill you to stay quiet for a sec?
Kapurimon and Hagurumon laughed at the sight of Impmon turning bright red with anger.
You're gonna make friends with Mistymon and the others, right? If that's the case, I want to help too. Ditto. I want to go and have a word with the grumps who hadn't changed their minds after hearing that song. You guys...
Yuuki muttered, overcome with emotion, as she hugged the trio tightly towards her.
Thanks a ton, but it might be dangerous, so don't overstretch yourselves. No need to worry. I'll protect the 3 pipsqueaks. Okay.
The Impmon made the assurance begrudgingly, then it clasped its hands behind its head. Yuki's partner Impmon then muttered something so that only she could hear.
Listen, Yuuki. What's up? Your teammates all changed after meeting Digimon, right?
Yeah. Yuuki nodded with enthusiasm. Suzune, Rutaru, and especially Winner had all changed drastically on this journey by meeting different Digimon.
It's not just this time around either. I think everyone changed after meeting their partners and the Digimon of Lacuna. Same goes for the Digimon. What? The Digimon have changed after meeting humans. Funbemon, Tyrannomon, Frigimon, and Huckmon. Even the Digimon of this world have changed after meeting, talking, and fighting with humans. It's different from Digivolving, but I'm sure it's just a change that's just as significant. You might even call it a miracle.
Impmon continued bashfully.
And me, I have more fun after meeting you, Yuuki. Even a Digimon as twisted as me experienced a change, so I'm sure things will go well with Mistymon too. Impmon!
Normally, this would fill Yuuki with emotion, making her hug Impmon and set off another one of their noisy fights. But not this time. All Yuuki did was nod quietly and offer her hand to Impmon.
The heck? High five to say thank you and good luck and a whole bunch of other things. Sure.
Impmon said nothing more and raised its own hand. Snap! The sound of resolved echoed throughout. To be continued. And that is it for another part of Digimon Liberator. Next part is the last one in this batch, and as of recording this, there's no release date for whenever Debug.25 will be out, but presumably next week or perhaps the week after. Something I did notice that some of the punctuation and sentence structure in this chapter, or this part rather, were kind of weird. I'm also pretty sure that it said Floramon looked off into the instance. I'm pretty sure it was meant to say distance. I think it was just a typo there. I did say instance, and then when I was reading, I'm like, that does not make sense. I could just be completely misreading it, and it could have been like in that instance, but it made more sense with how the sentence was written that it should be distance. So again, I'm reading this to the best of my ability as written. So if there's ever a weird typo or weird like sentence thing, I will usually bring it up if I remember during the outro part. So no, that wasn't me mistalking. That was just part of the actual chapter. And if there's any of the sentences that don't quite flow well together, I noticed that too. I was just reading them again as they were written. So you can contact me and stay updated. You can leave me your comment on this episode on YouTube to join the conversation. And for a full list of ways to find the podcast across the internet, check out my Linktree, which is linktr.ee/LostinTranslationmon. If you enjoy the podcast or videos or anything I post online, you can show support by signing up on Patreon and get some cool rewards and help me hit some milestones. And thank you to my current supporters on Patreon, Stephen Reeves, who is Well64 on Archive Our Own, Kadawashi, Neobu, who says you to follow Chisa on Twitter at Chisai236, Lismet, who is Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Magnus, Lucas, Jasonmon05, Patrick, Jason, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who's on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Tropimon, Vmon Tamer, Kasai, Big Bad Beetleborg, Flavin, Bent Archer, Cappy, Cyber, and Voltic Halberd. You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/airdramon. You can also donate me on my Ko-fi account, which is ko-fi.com/airdra. And again, thank you so much for listening. If you are watching/listening to this on YouTube, do the like, comment, subscribe thing, please, please, please. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!